And there we have the man,
Hey,
the legend. He's finally here.
how are you?
Good.
Hi, hi. Okay, my Bluetooth isn't working for some reason. Hi. Various technical issues, man.
It's like all the technology failed on one day.
Murphy. इस मर्फी की तो बैंड बजानी चाहिए.
But good to see you. Very good to see you. Looking sharp as always. The,
Good to see you as well.
and for the 1,100 people who've joined us, of course, the man needs little introduction, but I'm going to do this quick introduction for him. Einstein put it, creativity is intelligence having fun. But before you make the mistake that this is the creative genius who's sitting in front of you, there's also another creative genius who has written a book that has not sold 5.5 million copies. May not be a New York Times bestseller, but as I put up in my stories, he's a Malabar Hill bestseller for sure. So don't get confused on the creative genius that we have with us today. But honestly, you know this fellow as the guy who knows the secret of the Nagas. He's taken the oath of the Vayaputras, and he basically tells the story of immortal India through the Ramchandra series and also the Shiva trilogy. I can't cover all his books in 2-3 lines. It'll need a little more time. Author, diplomat, and now a film producer is what I hear, which is why I'm going to audition. I'm going to give a live audition as well. But one of the most intelligent people that I know, friend, mentor, and fellow wannabe comedian. Because that's the best thing that I like about him. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your virtual hands together for Amish Tripathi. Amish, thank you.
Hi guys. How are you? Absolute pleasure being here.
And also because we're talking about intelligent people, so I thought that to make up for the lack of intelligence on my part, we'll get another intelligent person. He's an IIT alumnus and so also a co-founder of a university that wants to redefine the way India is seen and how universities in India are seen and education in India is seen. Very happy to have the co-founder of Rishabh University, Sahil. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks a lot, Rishabh. An honor being here together with Amish.
So Sahil skipped all the previous episodes. He's like, I'll only come when the intelligent people come. So I'm going to record this.
And since he missed that, he's stuck with me now.
But no, it's wonderful to be able to do this. And Amish, let me start at the very outset. The name of the series is Classroom to Career. You are somebody who started out as a corporate professional and made the switch to being a writer. Now, how did you know that you wanted to be a writer? Is this something that came naturally to you, or is this something? I mean, how did you figure it out?
You know, I will quote Shakespeare here. So Shakespeare had said that there are those who are born great, there are those who achieve greatness after a lot of hard work, and there are those who have greatness thrust upon them. Okay. So the same thing can be said for writing. There are those who are born writers, there are those who achieve a writing career after lots of hard work, and those who have writing thrust upon them. I'm from the third group. I have had writing thrust upon me. I never wanted to be a writer, I'll be honest. I was always a voracious reader. I love reading. I have to encourage all of you guys, read a lot. It's one of the best things you can do. It expands your mind, expands your soul, expands your heart. It's one of the best things you can do. And of course, begin with my books, of course. But read more. Read beyond me as well. I've written only 9 books. So I used to always be a voracious reader, but I never thought I'll be a writer. I never did anything creative in my life. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing. And you were saying that you were a voracious reader and then became a writer. So writing is thrust upon you in that sense. Yesterday at I.I.M.U.N in Bombay, we hosted Devdutt Patnaik. And I was telling him, and he told me about your story of immortal India and, you know, the first time that you were penning the book. And I was asking the same question. I must ask you this as well. Some people say that writing comes naturally. Like you answered in the last question. You said that writing is something that in your case was thrust upon you. Is it something that you can learn? Is writing something, is creative writing an art that you can learn?
Damn good question, Rishabh. And I would never have expected such an intelligent question from you. So my compliments.
Thank you very much. This is written by my team, by the way. It's written by the 18-year-old.
I am not surprised. I want to meet your team the next time I'm in Mumbai. You're a very intelligent team, very clearly. Okay, so it's like this. In writing, there are 2 aspects to it, okay? That what you write and how you write, right? What is the story? right? And how you write is the language, the way you edit it, the way you compose your sentences, the way you communicate your thoughts, so that it's understandable. You know, should it be simple, easy English? Should it be British Raj era English? All the choices have an impact, right? All the choices that you make. So now, how you write, this is something that can be learned. You go to creative writing courses. You know, you can learn things how you should structure your sentences. Like, you know, I do it instinctively. For example, when I'm writing action scenes, my sentences become very staccato. It becomes short. It instinctively the reader just moves faster, right? But if I'm writing a romance scene or something, I'll slow it down, longer sentences, poetry, etc. Right? Now, this is how you write. This can be learned. But what you write, the story itself, that is a blessing, man. I mean, you know, I'm genuinely lucky. Lord Shiva blessed me. Why he blessed me, I don't know. But I thank my stars and I thank him for it. That is something that can't be learned. I mean, some of us are we just receive the blessing of being good storytellers. And good storytellers are not just those who write books. Good leaders are good storytellers. Politicians are good storytellers. You know, essentially anyone who can hold your attention is a storyteller.
So, by those accounts, do I classify? Do I classify as a storyteller?
Certainly are a storyteller. Certainly are.
Guys,
you need to write more.
We need to take out this bit and we need to send it to all publishing houses, major publishing houses especially. But Amish, what you said is so true. You can learn the art of writing. You can learn the art of writing, but you can't necessarily. You have been gifted with the stories, and those stories come to you naturally. So
that's a blessing.
Correct. So one can write like the way that one of the favorite people at I.I.M.U.N that we have, and somebody who really talks like this, and he writes in a manner in colloquial English, which is very different from the language that you use. But we can write like him, we can write like you. But the story is something that is a God-gifted story. Is that what you're trying to say? Is that it comes?
Essentially, it's a blessing. Look, if you're a believer, as I am, you will believe it came from Lord Shiva. If you're a non-believer, you'll think it's a blessing from the universe. It's up to you, man. But the thing is very clear that it's something outside of you. You know, the ancient Greeks used to say that the genius is essentially a goddess that exists outside of you. So don't have the arrogance of thinking I am the genius, right? Your job is to help the goddess genius to help you, right? Because she's outside of you. That's what the Greeks used to believe. So the main thing is, if you want to be a writer, you can't be watching a movie or doing an Instagram live or something else. You know, be on your laptop, focus on the book. Then the goddess has an opportunity to help you. But just because you're doing your work doesn't mean that she'll help you. Maybe she's not in the mood and she'll not send you the blessing. Happens.
Got it. So it depends on what way you perceive it, but it's something that's a God gift at the end of the day. It's something that you need to persevere and you believe in that. But tell me, Sahil, let me bring you in on this. How are you going to create new Amish Tripathis? How are you going to teach people the process of creative writing? Because like he said, that this is a gift that comes. This is that, you know, you either persevere and you get it, or alternatively, you believe that, you know, it's come to you. You're going to teach them creative writing. So how are you planning to do that?
Thanks, Rishabh. And for us, Amish is not just a creative writer. For us, Amish is a role model. I mean, if in the life of an institution, if we can create 10 such people, I think we'll be very happy, of being able to achieve something. So why I say that is because we don't just see the writings that he's bringing out, but also the foundation of those writings. For us, he's a civilizational ambassador. He's a cultural leader. And if irrespective of the field that people choose who are coming out of our institution, if they can have that as the base of whatever walk of life they choose, I think we'll be happy that we've played our role. When it comes to writing, the way we have designed our curriculum is that writing, not just creative writing, but basic professional writing, business writing, any kind of writing is a core component of all the courses that the students come to study with us. The first semester is a common curriculum in which writing is an important component, because this is a constant feedback that we receive from the industry, from the society, from whoever then ends up recruiting students who graduate from university, that people can't write proper documents, emails, leave alone articles and stories. So we want to inculcate this as a habit. And then, of course, as Amish was saying, that if there are people who are then blessed with storytelling, they will end up becoming very good creative writers, or someone might become an author, someone might become a stand-up comedian, someone might become a poet, but that blessing has to come to them. But this basic skill of being able to write well, that is something that we consciously train our students in.
And then
if I may add, I'm glad you're doing this, because articulation is one of the biggest problems in today's day. You know, one of the things that's happened is language has got so messed up these days. You know, ना हम अपनी मातृभाषा ठीक से जानते हैं, ना हिंदी. For me, it could be Hindi. For someone else, it could be Marathi, Gujarati, whichever language it is. ना हम अपनी मातृभाषा ठीक से जानते हैं. Neither do we know English well. You know, how many of us can hold a conversation in one language without using any other word? And this is articulation.
Yes.
भाई आपके मन में जो ख्याल है उसे प्रस्तुत कैसे किया जाए? This is one of the most critical aspects of living a good life, and this is something that sadly our education system teaches almost nothing of. हमारी शिक्षा प्रणाली कुछ नहीं सिखाती है इसके बारे में.
Bilkul, and I think the fact that you can articulate yourself, and that's half the battle won, right, Amish? Because, and like Sahil was mentioning, that if you can articulate yourself, then whichever field you are, whether you are an author or you're a stand-up comedian, or like in my case, you're stuck somewhere in the middle. The idea is that as long as you can articulate, then you are going to be somewhat successful, or as people perceive success as, you're going to be able to do something in life at least. But Amish, let me come to you in this. Lots of parents are watching this, and lots of parents are going to watch this. We're going to send this to a lot of schools. So parents ऐसे बोलते हैं that you can't leave your job and become a writer. You can't. Look at Amish Tripathi also. He didn't leave his job whilst he secured first himself financially, and then only did he pursue his career. So what do you have to say to parents and to students who say that I want to be the next Amish Tripathi, but as soon as I finished college, I want to start writing? Would you advise them to immediately start writing, or get a job and then after that pursue becoming?
Look, the honest truth is, it's different if you're being an entrepreneur, and it's different if you're in the creative space. Okay. The very nature of the creative, and indeed even the sports space, is this. Whether you're a writer or an actor or a film director or a cricketer or a kabaddi player, any of these things, creative and sports, 99% don't even make enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month. That's a reality, not just in India, even abroad. Okay. And in fact, 99.5%. And 0.5% make more money than they ever thought possible. Right. So the risk reward is extremely skewed in these things, unlike in a job, an entrepreneurship program, etc. Because in a country like India, actually chances of you succeeding as an entrepreneur are much higher. So I always advise, who am I to advise? I always suggest to both students and parents कि भाई, whatever decision you take, use your mind and the heart. One of the lines I had used in my book, Ati Sarvatra Varjai, that extremism of any kind should be avoided. So extremism of the mind, where you suppress your heart, whatever your dreams are, usko daba do. I will, only focus on the mind and earn money. You will realize by the time you're 50, you're deeply unhappy with life. But extremism of the heart, where you don't use your mind at all, bina soche samjhe kahin bhi kud gaye. Okay, that's also not wise, right? Because then often your dreams turn into nightmares, right? So the thing is to have a balance between the two. So let your heart decide the destination. Use your mind to plot the journey. So I started writing my book, right? I come from a humble family, Rishabh. You know that, So माँ बाप का आशीर्वाद है, जायदाद कुछ नहीं है. Okay. So I was very clear, okay, the first book has done well, right? But I'm not sure. What if it's a fluke, right? So I waited till my second book. That also took off. And my royalty check became more than my salary. I resigned only then, right? So the heart wanted me to be a writer, but the mind was saying, plot the journey pragmatically. Soche samjhe mat kudo, right? And even when I resigned from my job, I made sure I left on good terms with my boss. Okay, at that time, I was a member of the senior management committee in IDBI Federal Life Insurance. I finished all my projects with my CEO, did a long notice period, found and trained my replacement. Okay, left on very good terms with my boss, and I told him, "Sir ji, kuch gadbad ho jaye, main wapas aa jaunga." Okay, so suggestion to all of you: use your mind and your heart. That's when you'll find success and happiness both.
So basically make sure that you follow your passion, but first also make sure that it's pragmatically, in a pragmatic fashion.
Let your heart decide the destination. Use your mind to plot the journey. That's the best way.
Excellent. That's the quote. That's the highlight. That follow your heart, but make sure that the mind plots the journey. And which is why I must ask Sahil this, that now that people are going to come and they're going to study in your university, वो लोग creative writing पढ़ेंगे. बाद में once they studied creative writing, they're also looking for financial security. Like Amish said, that it is great to be passionate about something, but one also has to look at the pragmatic part, which is whether it's going to happen or not. How are you going to guarantee them that financial security? Because one of the biggest problems of parents across the country, whom I've spoken to, including my own, saying course boards तो ठीक है, उसके बाद नौकरी क्या करोगे, जॉब क्या करोगे? Correct. So Sahil, आप ये समस्या कैसे हल करोगे?
Lovely line. लेखन वेखन ठीक है बेटा, काम क्या करोगे?
काम क्या करोगे? Actually, this thing is so strange because I visit villages a lot, and there I was talking to elderly generation, and we asked कि आपके बच्चे क्या करते हैं? They said कुछ नहीं करते. And then we met the children and we asked them कि आप क्या करते हो? They said हम कुछ नहीं करते. हमने कहा कुछ नहीं, कुछ तो करते होगे. कहते नहीं, बस वो खेती वेती करते हैं. So people are not seeing what they're actually doing as work. They say कि नहीं, ये तो कुछ नहीं है. हम actually में कुछ नहीं कर रहे. And this is getting applied to so many professions. But I agree with Amish on this thing of the head and the heart. And so because we are dealing with youth, so we generally tend to encourage them, nudge them towards taking a higher risk. Why? Because we feel that this is the right age and their risk-taking appetite will constantly keep reducing as they grow up in their age. They will have family, they will have this and that. So if at this age, in the college age, if they can be, we can skew them a little towards a higher risk-taking, I think the rewards might be higher. And as we were discussing in the beginning, creative writing is not the only career that comes out of learning creative writing. Amish was saying they can get into politics, they can get into media, they can get into design, they can even become entrepreneurs. So the world is vast. We see creative writing as more of a foundational ability that everyone should learn, rather than only those who want to professionally become creative writers.
So I think very good point by Sahil on this point, that those who are young, I'm 47, right? So my capacity to take risk is obviously lower, and that's natural, no? भाई मेरा बच्चा भी है, 13 साल का है, there are so many things to do, my parents, so many things. So, but if you're young, you have the ability to take risks. Again, that is actually using the mind. It's pragmatic, तो कुछ risk लेना है तो अभी ले लो, try कर लो.
Risk. And after all, the famous line of Scam 92, as I keep telling everyone, once I saw it, is risk hai to ishq hai. So, but the idea is that.
But never, ऋषभ, ये मुंबई नजरिए से बोलना पड़ेगा. रिस्क नहीं बोलते, रिक्स बोलते. रिक्स है इश्क. For all of you are not in Mumbai, you know. For some reason, मुंबई में कई लोग रिस्क नहीं बोलते हैं, रिक्स बोलते हैं. रिक्स नहीं लेने का लगा.
रिक्स नहीं लिया तो क्या किया? पर
रिक्स नहीं लिया तो क्या किया? रिक्स नहीं तो इट्स नहीं.
No, very well said, Sahil. What you said is it's a foundation course to what you can do in life. It's your stepping stone. It's in a way, it's like I.I.M.U.N. Okay. Like once you start with I.I.M.U.N, eventually you can become an author, politician, comedian, or you can be stuck behind and you can be me. But the idea being that you can actually go ahead and pursue different things once you've learned the very fundamentals, so to say. Yeah. So let me.
In a sense, what Sahil is teaching is articulation. Basically, being able to articulate what you're thinking. This is a very, very, very critical skill. And our education system teaches nothing of this.
Absolutely. No, and that is the need of the hour. But let me ask, before we run out of time, let me quickly ask you this question, because I've always wanted to ask you. There is this, and I did a very bad impersonation of him, because nobody can impersonate him. But there is this Shashi Tharoor school of writing. There is this Sudha Murthy school of writing, as I have observed over a period of time. Both these people I have the highest regard for. Amish, you fall somewhere in the middle, where the language that you use is not so difficult that you need a dictionary, and it's also not that basic per se. What would you tell those who are aspiring writers? There are many people who are watching this who want to write, and some feel that you get taken seriously only when you write with big words, And some feel that if you write too simple language, then that is the language that should be utilized because there's a common language. Like you said, risk is more important than risk. And that's the way the communication takes place. So what would you tell young aspiring writers who yet have to develop their style of writing? How should they write?
Rishabh, first I should clarify, I'm a big fan of Sudha Murthy ji and Dr. Shashi Tharoor. I love both their books, right? And I've read most of them. Now, language, look, the way I see it is be yourself. There's no point trying to be someone else because that is already taken by someone else, right? Be yourself, right? भाई अगर आपकी भाषा खिचड़ी भाषा है तो ठीक है, उसमें बोलिए, ओके। लेकिन मेरा मानना यह है कि अगर मैं हिंदी में बात करूंगा तो सिर्फ हिंदी में बात करूंगा, सिर्फ हिंदी में वार्ता करूंगा। आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक इन इंग्लिश अनलेस आई एम इन अ कैजुअल रिलैक्स प्लेस जहां पे चलो खिचड़ी चलेगी, राइट? सो एसेंशियली जो आपको नेचुरल लगता है वो करिए, राइट? देयर इज अ सर्टेन स्टाइल आई हैव एंड आई एम नॉट प्रिटेंडिंग टू बी समथिंग एल्स, दिस इज हु आई एम। Dr. Tharoor is who he is. Even when you meet him, one-on-one, he still speaks the same way. And Sudha Murthy ji, even when you meet her one-on-one, she still has that lovely, beautiful, simple way of speaking. And Sudha Murthy ji is like your favorite grandmother. You know, you meet her and you feel like touching her feet. You know, I feel like touching her feet and I touch her feet. She is like that. Okay. Correct. Now, so she's not pretending to be something else. She is who she is, right? And Dr. Tharoor is also not pretending to be anyone else. He is who he is. Now, the reality of the situation though is you can be who you are and others don't like you. Now, there's a reality. ये हो सकता है, ठीक है? But in today's modern world and the way social media is, if you're trying to be a fake, you'll get caught out sometime. Correct? So be who you are, so you don't have to pretend. And some will like you, some will not. That's okay. Be who you are.
Be who you are.
The language that you use, how you speak, be who you are.
Rishabh, I have a question for Amish on his style of writing. So of course, language is one thing, but one very powerful flavor that I find in all the writings, especially in all the characters, whether it is Suhail Dev or Ram or Sita or Shiva or Parvati, there is always this character. Your characters always depict leadership, and throughout the book there is a high, flavor of leadership lessons and how those leaders have brought a nation together. So leadership and nation building, I find a common theme across all your writings. And at Rishabh University, we have a flagship program in leadership where we are trying to create the future leaders. I want to ask you, what can the future leaders who are getting trained learn from India's past, because you have delved into that and you have used that in your all the books?
Very, very good question, Sahil. And look, I think one of the things in the Indian way, which is very clear, there is no one truth. There is no one style. There is no ki, bhai, this is the only truth. If you believe anything else, you will burn in hell for eternity. Apne mein वैसा नहीं है. There are ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. Truth is one, but the wise speak it as many. There are many truths. So therefore, even in leadership styles, there are many leadership styles, right? So there is a Lord Ram leadership style who will follow, in which case, rules will be followed no matter what. Right? Even at the cost of personal harm, even at the cost of harm to the family. Mahatma Gandhi followed that style. Gautam Buddha followed that style. There's a lot Krishna kind of leadership style, which is, that actually the end is what matters. And if that means you have to manage the journey on the way, then you do that. Like Lord Krishna was very clear. शटे शाट्यम समाचरित कि दुष्ट के साथ दुष्टता ही करनी चाहिए. Lord Krishna was very clear. Whereas Lord Ram was, no matter what, he will follow Maryada. Right? Now, it depends on the situation, depends on the style that you have. Lord Shiva's style is very different. Lord Shiva has always, been a god that is outside of society. And Lord Shiva doesn't differentiate between anyone, high born, low born, men, women. It doesn't differentiate between anyone. That's a different way of looking at things. The goddess has a very different way, very passionate and yet caring, deeply caring towards her own. Now that is her style. You'll find that it's not just among them. Now forget about my books, even in the traditional way. There's a Dhritarashtra approach also. Lord Ram was willing to sacrifice his family for the country. Emperor Dhritarashtra was willing to sacrifice the entire country for his family. We've had both leadership styles, right? In modern India and in past India. Now, In the traditional Indian way, there is no judgment. Look at all styles, see what suits that time best, and see what suits your innate character best. So you have to find what works for you. That is the approach our ancestors had to us. They put all these role models in front of us. Now it's up to us. Choose what works.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I totally resonate because we have this component of understanding our swabhav and swadharma. What is my nature and what is my purpose? That's part of our training, curriculum training for the leadership course. I totally resonate with what you're saying.
Sai, sorry to cut in. There's a lovely line from the Bhagavad Gita. Shreya Swadharma Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushthatha. Okay, I will translate that it's better to do your own Swadharma even if you make mistakes while doing it, rather than doing someone else's Swadharma even if you do it perfectly. Right? So find what your Swadharma is and then do that.
Great. Thanks a lot for that.
Absolutely. No, this is wonderful. I rarely see Sahil asking the questions, and it's good because he also told me at the start of the episode saying, today I am a student. I said, great. Everybody should be a student when he's talking. And Amish, what you said about the fact that there is so much to learn from our scriptures in terms of the different styles of leadership. Of course, in Maharashtra, we yet finding out who our real leader is. But the idea
don't eventually politics, Baba. I never comment on politics.
I'm 200 feet away from them. So, but you are the one who's in the Nehru Center, not me. But let me end with asking you a very simple, short, rapid fire that I always do with the guests that come in. There's no hamper at the end of it, but hopefully the audience will tell us who performed better. What is
okay?
Okay, so whatever comes to your mind first when I say the following words, Amish and Sahil, you need to tell me that, right? So the first thing that comes to your mind, Amish, when I say creative writing.
Rishabh.
This is not where we revert back to stand-up comedy. but Sahil, when I say classroom, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Break it.
Interesting. Break it.
When I say career, Amish, what's the first thought?
Multiple. I've had 4 careers, man, in one life till now. Let me see where I go now.
And there's a producer career also.
Hey, that's a photo.
Have you finished your cast?
No, but because you haven't given me dates, man. So we haven't started. You don't even respond to my WhatsApp messages. Nakhre itne actors ke na, Sahil, I tell you.
I'll just tell my watchman who's doubling up in my stead. I will tell him to give me a few dates. But when I say Bharat, Amish, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Love, devotion, motherland, heaven, everything. What I live for.
And when I say youth, Sahil?
Energy.
And the final one I've reserved for Amish. I.I.M.U.N. When I say India's international movement to United Nations, what comes to your mind?
Rocking students.
Rocking students. I think I let the audience decide who's won. Because I have to go for an audition right now. This is very important. I have to make sure that the dates are available and I have to tell the watchman saying, Abhi, you'll have to take over as a full-time watchman. But it's been wonderful chatting with you, and there's always so much to learn. Like I said, every time I sit with you, I become a student. And today both Sahil and me were students, and so also these 1,000+ people who've joined in from all parts of India and the globe. Thank you very much, Amish, for joining. And hopefully we will follow what you just mentioned. That is, follow your heart, but also be pragmatic, and then eventually make your career decision. And that is essentially what Amish Tripathi stands for in his 4th career, and now giving a jobless watchman the lead role in his next movie. So do that and much more. Thank you very much, Sahil and Amish Tripathi, for joining in. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
a lot.
Bye.